Okay, so in this video we're going to be covering the Unit 4, Week 5 vocabulary for the second grade Wonders selection for the week. This week we're going to be talking about poetry. So one of the words in our poems is the word pale. So say that word with me, pale. Something that is pale, P-A-L-E, is a very light color. For example, Sam enjoyed looking at the pale yellow flowers. What is the opposite of pale then? Okay. So on your cards, write the word pale. And on the other side, write light in color. Okay, pause the video as you need to complete your cards. Okay, another word in this week's selection is drops. Say that word with me, drops. Drops are small amounts of liquid that fall in a round shape. For example, there are drops of water on the plant. Where else have you seen drops of water? Okay, write drops. And for the definition, write small amounts of liquid. Another word in this week's selection is excite. Say that word with me, excite. Things that excite make a person feel happy or eager. For example, the dancers will excite the audience. What can excite you when you go outside? Okay, write the word excite. And for the definition, write, to make a person feel happy or eager. All right. Another word in this week's poetry is outdoors. Say that word with me, outdoors. When something is outdoors, it is outside and not inside a building. For example, we played soccer outdoors. Name something you can do outdoors that you cannot do inside. Okay, write outdoors. And write outside and not inside a building. Alright, so let's look at a couple of these poems for this week, and then we'll talk about some poetry terms that I want you to know. Nature walk. When you take a walk in the fall, leaves are like a blanket on the ground. They crunch under your feet with each step you take. When you take a walk in the fall, the air feels as cool as drops of rain on your cheek. It smells like clean cotton towels. When you take a walk in the fall, the outdoors will excite you. It's a wonderful time. Okay, so this poem is not telling a story, is it? So this is what we call an example of a free verse poem. Okay. A free verse poem. So what is that? Well, free verse poems don't have to rhyme. Okay, for instance, you won't find any words here that rhyme. Okay. None of the endings have the same sound. It can have any number of lines or stanzas. A stanza is a group of lines. Okay, so you see the gap here. So there's a group of 4 lines. So that's one stanza. Here's a second stanza, and here's a third stanza. But it could have multiple stanzas, and it could have maybe 2 lines here in this stanza, 4 lines in this one, 6 lines in another. So there's really no set system of lines in a free verse poem. And sometimes free verse poems will often tell a poet's thoughts or feelings. Okay. Alright, so free verse poems. Alright, let's look at in the sky. Outdoors on a clear day, look up in the sky. What do you see there? Look, I see a giant polar bear. Look, I see a pale flower growing. Look, I see a buffalo and her baby. Wait, it's changing. Now I see a cowboy on his horse, galloping across the sky. I wonder where he'll ride. Okay, that's another example of a free verse poem. Okay, this poem also has examples of what is known as repetition. Okay, you see the examples of repetition? Galloping, galloping. Repetition is the use of repeated words and phrases to emphasize an author's ideas. Use of repeated words and phrases. Repetition. Okay, snow shape. Snow is falling from the sky. It gently lands on the ground. It's bright, bright white, just like cold milk. It looks so soft and smooth. I hate to ruin it with my feet, but I've got a plan. I stand up tall and close my eyes, and then straight back I fall. I slide my arms up and down. I move my legs in and out. I stand up to see what I have made. A 4-foot shape in the snow of me. Okay. So again, you saw some examples of repetition, right? Bright, bright. There's also a simile in this poem. It's bright, bright white, just like cold milk. So there's a comparison, right, of the snow being as just like white, just like cold milk. So it's comparing two different things using the words like or as. So the snow is falling from the sky. It gently lands on the ground. It's bright, bright white, it being the snow. Bright, bright white, just like cold milk. Okay. So again, simile. Comparing two different things using the words like or as. Okay, and then final thing that I want to talk about is the idea of alliteration. Alliteration. Alliteration is words in a line of poetry that start with the same sound. For instance, we could look here and say a 4-foot shape in the snow. Shape and snow. I stand up to see what I have made. Stand up. Okay. So the beginning sounds will repeat in lines. Okay. So you can go through the poems that we read and see if you can find lines that have repetitive beginning sounds. So, soft, smooth, s sound, right? Okay. So alliteration. Words in a line of poetry that start with the same sound. All right, so that was the last word for this week's vocabulary. So until next week, I will see you soon.